Welcome to Talkin VAWLS, episode number 77, Basket Vols edition, brought to you by the Outright Geekery Podcast Network at outrightgeekery.com. Also, we are currently live streaming right now on YouTube, courtesy of the S&B Network. Make sure you go ahead and smash that like button and share out the link. I'm Vols JP.
I'm Dauber. What's happening?
Well, Dauber, we sat here after last Wednesday night discussing the Memphis game, and our Vols were 7-1. Felt like that we were going to manhandle the Tigers on Saturday, and then go up to Cincinnati tonight and play the first true road test. Didn't fare as Vols and their fans expected, as Tennessee loses tonight, 2 consecutive games in a row. Tonight, I guess I'm probably more disappointed than I probably was Saturday, just to be honest with you, because I didn't feel like that Tennessee brought the effort and intensity that they needed to bring into a road environment like that. I know that Cincinnati had been struggling, but I was really surprised when I saw that stat pop up and said that they had only lost 4 games in that arena since the 2016-17 season. So it's obviously a tough place to play, but Tennessee came out tonight, and again, the cold shooting doomed the Vols.
Yeah, like you said, just overall lack of intensity and really effort tonight. We were out hustled for loose balls, for rebounds. There was one possession there. We gave Cincinnati 2 consecutive rebounds on the offensive glass.
Mm-hmm.
Just nobody boxing out, nobody really showing the effort. They didn't want it. And Cincinnati, in the first half, we had a chance to build that lead, and kind of the same thing that happened last Saturday against Memphis. We let them fight and claw back into it. And it's a game at half. It's just we truly lack that offensive threat, that scoring presence. When especially as the shot clock is winding down, there is nobody that seems to want the ball. And don't get me wrong, I think Turner is a guy that you want with the shot clock winding down to take a shot. You got Bowden, but those guys, they've really gone silent. And I know a lot of that has to do with teams are now game planning for them, whereas last year they were game planning for Williams or Schofield or Bone. So they're really being denied that opportunity. But that's where you've got to outwork the guy that's guarding you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious that this has been a struggle for Bowden and Turner to take over the leadership roles on this team and become the face of this team, and to be the ones that this team has to look to carry them just about every single night. And I mean, Turner is just struggling immensely outside. Of course, this whole team is. But I thought in the second half there, Turner finally started driving it more to the basket, which I would like to see him start doing on a regular basis. But Bowden, that's the same way. I mean, it's just like that he's just kind of lost out there. It's like that he can't get open. And when he does get open, shots just aren't falling. I mean, this team is just in a funk as far as shooting goes. And I think anybody that's probably followed the Vols over the last 3 or 4 years since Bowden's been down there know that he is a streaky shooter. Him and Turner both are. But they just look timid. I mean, you can tell that the pressure is on those two. And I think maybe a lot of it on Turner's part. You know, they keep on bringing up the shoulder issue, and certainly that sounds like that is something that's bothering him. But I think just the fact of him having to run this team as far as the point guard goes, I think that's got it too. And will Barnes look to make some type of adjustment perhaps and start using James more as the true point guard and trying to free Turner up as the shooting guard perhaps to see if he can get him out of this funk.
Right. I actually read that he missed a couple days of practice or was a little bit limited this past week as he was getting some treatment or some work on his shoulder. So, but
yeah, which
I mean,
he missed. He missed the early part of last season with that shoulder. He had that surgery, and think he had some complications with it. So apparently something is just not right with that shoulder. But man, I tell you what, somebody on this basketball team is going to have to start stepping up and making some shots because they're just not falling. I mean, if it hadn't have been for the performance that they had at the free throw line tonight, I mean, they'd have got ran out of the gym even more than they did. I mean,
yeah.
I think they shot 100% from the foul line. Was it 15 of 15?
Did not miss. Yeah.
Yeah. You miss another 5 of those and 5 more points. What they lose by 10? I cut it off there at the end and was falling on my phone.
Actually,
lost
12,
by 12.
12.
Yeah. So but yeah, I mean, just which Cincinnati. I mean, obviously, that's a tough place to play, but Cincinnati really hadn't played well this year. They've just coming off a loss to Colgate. They lost to Ohio State, which is ranked number 1 now, I guess, or should be anyway. And then they lost to Xavier. But outside of that, they really haven't played much, and they're 6-4. So first true road test, and the Vols fell. I mean, they flat out fell.
Well, back to what you were talking about, the offensive woes. It's something that I touched on when we first started talking about this team. If we struggle to shoot the ball, if we're not hitting open shots, this team is going to have a hard time winning games. You go back and look at some of the stats from last Saturday against Memphis. You're talking about Turner struggling, 1 for 11 against Memphis. James was 4 of 11. He started off the game hot. I think he had our first 8 points, but then kind of trailed off. Bowden was 2 of 10 against Memphis. Pons was 3 of 10. So I mean that's 4 of your starters right there, hitting 10 shots out of 42.
What did we shoot against Memphis from three-point land? It was like 23% or something, wasn't it?
No, 15%.
15. So we actually upped it by 5% because we shot 20% tonight. I mean, fellas, that's not going to win many basketball games at all. I mean, it's not.
Well, and what you threw out earlier, we were out rebounded tonight, right?
Yeah,
what did you have?
32 to 21.
Okay.
I mean, and Memphis, it was obvious the second chance opportunities that Cincinnati got.
Memphis out rebounded us 49 to 39.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're like I said earlier,
obvious lack of size.
Lack of size, but also tonight, especially the latter part of the second half, we were out hustled.
Yeah.
It just Cincinnati wanted it more.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about it that they were feeding off that home crowd, and they brought it, and Tennessee didn't match the intensity. So, we're definitely going to be out of the top 25 now. Which this early in the season, it's not that big and of a deal, but certainly disappointing to start out 7-1 and then suffer these two losses here. I think we got Jacksonville State, I think, coming up Saturday. So maybe we can bounce back there. And then we got Wisconsin. Yeah, after that. This basketball team, hopefully that they can start finding their groove. And like Hillbilly Sportsman said, I mean, I don't think anybody expected this basketball team to have the outcome that we had last year. and his play as well as we did last year with what we lost and everything with that. So, I'm certainly not giving up on this basketball team because, we've seen what Turner can do. We've seen what Bowden can do. I think Fulkerson, like VolsFan90, they're saying, he was the one out there still hustling, giving effort.
He brings it all the time, though.
Yeah.
And he's what I really like is he's not passing up those shots last year that he did.
Yeah.
He is looking to score a little bit, actually putting the ball on the floor and driving. 6 of 8 tonight. I think actually led us in scoring with 14 points.
Yeah, so you can't ask for much more than that from Fulkerson. So
yeah,
he's bringing it. It's just these outside shots are just not falling.
Right.
Somebody is going to have to step up and start making some shots.
That's the thing. I truly kind of looked at this year as not necessarily a rebuilding year, but I did not think that we would follow up the success we had last year solely based on what we lost. Now, if we can have a decent year, kind of a holdover year, we've talked about it before. We've got 3 of the top 36 players in the country that are committed to come in Springer, Keon Johnson, and Corey Walker. So, Barnes, I'm not putting this on the staff. I think it's truly we're kind of lack of size. Got some guys really not playing their natural position, which is kind of taking us out of the groove. And I truly do think this team they could get hot and go on a run because of the defense they play. And tonight, you said it earlier, it wasn't there tonight. That's what kept us in the game Saturday against Memphis was the defense. But tonight, man, especially
I have no doubt that
half,
that's going to be. I can only imagine watching the tape back with that Barnes. That he's going to be all over them for that. But that's part of those growing pains. I mean those are things that happen when you're relying on these freshmen. That's going to happen, and hopefully that we can start making some shots and start, shooting the ball the way that this team is capable of, and make a run there. The name of the game this year is just make the tournament. That's the name of the game. Try to win that first round game, and then see what happens. But if this team doesn't start shooting the ball, I don't think that they're going to make the tournament. So they're going to have to. And the wild card in this is the point guard from Uruguay,
right?
Santiago Vescovi. How soon that he may be able, once he is cleared, if and when he is cleared, how soon can he pick up and potentially be able to run this point? That could be, an addition there after
it could be huge
after January that could really, really change the whole outlook on this basketball team.
Well, it would give Turner the opportunity to slide over to that shooting guard and maybe be a little bit more comfortable because he's the type he's a catch and shoot. He's not really the typical running the offense through him. He's wanting that quick catch and fire. You were talking about freshmen earlier. How about Pember and Gaines along with James against Memphis? They combined for 17 of the first half 24 points that Tennessee had.
Yeah, I thought that James really came out and really gave Tennessee a lift there when and really helped us build that lead. We were up 15-5.
Yeah,
and had an opportunity, we thought, to probably run Memphis out and really, really bury those those freshmen of Memphis early, but it just didn't happen because we kept missing shots. But yeah, and then Pember came in and he about brought the house down with that dunk attempt. So I think Pember's definitely a kid that's going to get better, and he's going to carve out a role for this basketball team.
I saw some comments by Barnes on him, and he's really high on the kid. He said there's a lot of potential there. It's just getting him into some games to adjust to the speed of college and make that transition. But with Barnes, typically having such a short bench and not really going deep on it, for him to break into games right now as a freshman. The same thing with Olivier, whatever his name is. I'm going to struggle with that. Nakamwa, yeah. Those two guys, I think the ceiling is very high for them. And like I said, not totally dismissing this team and looking on to next year, but we've got a really good recruiting class coming in next year. Like I said, this is kind of a holdover year. If to your point, if we can make the tournament, maybe get through that first round, it just takes getting hot at the right time. Winning the games we should. I really think this team's going to struggle on the road. That was my prediction going into the season. I think I actually had us dropping every road game but one, and still I think getting right at 20 wins, which should get you in the tournament, especially with the type of schedule we play.
It should, but we need to definitely start another streak at Thompson Bowling Arena and take care of the wins there home. For sure. Yeah. Who all do we have out here tonight? We got 15. It's showing right now. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight after the Vols basketball game. Looks like we got Wayne Shelton. Appreciate you, Wayne, hanging out with us tonight. Cody Branch, Hillbilly Sportsman, Troy Sharp, VolsFan90, Matt Griffin. We appreciate all of you, all Joe Martin, for listening to us tonight and talking some Tennessee basketball.
Hey, UT Tanner's here, and he said he's had his Talkin VAWLS hoodie on all day.
Yes, I got UT Tanner right there on the screen. We appreciate that, UT Tanner. Appreciate it. But and also, guys, don't forget the Tank Slayer Bowl, Gator Bowl watch party at Model City Tap House.
Why are you going to talk about it? You're going to be down in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Well, you want to miss or talk about it there?
Yeah, I'll throw it out there. You guys, big news. If you've not heard, Boogie and I are going to be at Model City Tap House in downtown Kingsport, 151 East Main Street. We're going to go be there about 5 p.m. We're going to go live and do a tailgate show. 6 o'clock or so, we're going to do a meet and greet. And then 7 p.m., we will be watching the Vols take on the Hoosiers. Model City Tap House will be serving some great food and brews all evening. So, come out and join us as we cheer on the Big Orange.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be great.
And JP's down there soaking up the sun and cheering on the Vols.
Yeah, it'll probably be about 50 degrees probably. Rain probably. But I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to even though that I won't be there, obviously. I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I want to see as many people out there as possible.
Yeah.
Put some faces to these screen names.
Yeah.
Hang out with you guys.
Yeah. So it'll be great.
We've got a lot to cover. I think we're going to touch on National Signing Day a little bit. And a few other things. You going to get into recruiting a little bit with that, JP?
Yeah, we got no one special asking if we're going to do any kind of recruiting show. We're trying to put something together.
Stay tuned. We will have a bowl game preview show where we get really kind of into it. We've touched the surface of this matchup with Indiana. We are really going to dive into that. Probably be looking for that to come out the week of the game, with next Wednesday being Christmas. We're going to take that night off, but we will go ahead and click on the bell for the notifications so you all know when we will go up live with the bowl preview show.
Yeah, I think we talked about maybe doing something that Monday night.
Monday, I believe.
Monday night the 30th is what we had talked about doing. We was trying to wait until after Christmas and then leading up till a couple of days before the actual game. So like Dauber said, be on the lookout for that. We'll post something out there on social media and everything to let you all know with that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't really get to listen, really look at much today as far as recruiting goes. Was at work, didn't really get to see much of it, and then came pretty much straight home, ate, watched the basketball game, and then we jumped on here. But it sounds like there really wasn't much surprises, which was good. Tennessee got who that we were expecting to get per se. Really, I guess the only one that was kind of in question was Morgan Joseph, the defensive end out of Florida that ended up picking the Vols over Florida State and Florida. I think that was a big pickup, a big position of need that this football team needed. I really liked the speed that we picked up at the wide receiver position. I'm also encouraged at the size of the defensive lineman and the offensive lineman. The days of this football team signing these 250-pound tackles and 260-pound tackles and trying to beef them up to 290 or 300 or over. Pruitt and Chaney want big offensive linemen. And certainly Pruitt wants a stout defensive lineman as well. So, on paper, I mean, I've seen it, depending on which recruiting site that you look at. I think Rivals has is currently at 9th right now. I saw where 247 was, I think, 15th, and ESPN was 18th.
I think 21 is 20, what I saw.
Yeah, something with that. So, of course, we end up getting Barron, Tyler Barron. That was the kid from Knox Catholic. I think that he can come in and probably help us from day one. Like I said, really excited about the Callaway kid, wide receiver, and I'm really intrigued about the Holiday kid that flipped from TCU, I believe it was
the quarterback.
Yeah. He seems to have a lot of athletic ability. It'll be interesting to see. And I also saw where he is an early enrollee, so that'll be good for him if he's really going to get a shot as as quarterback. And like Hillbilly Sportsman's there saying, certainly got to mention Harrison Bailey.
Big to retain him and
oh yeah,
get that in there. Just the way the quarterback situation played this year, it just goes to show you how unknown the game is. We started off our season preview not thinking anything about quarterback, it not being the slightest concern, and then you look at us through the first 5 games, and we even had average quarterback play through those. We're probably 3 and 5 or 3-2 instead of 1-4.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it. I mean, that's the thing with that. But this quarterback room, it's going to be interesting because we've still got three
absolutely.
on. We got three on scholarship right now. All signs point to Garantano coming back,
and then you got Kasem Hill, the transfer.
Yeah, with him, and then we're signing these two. And from what I've seen about the Holiday kid, the plan is to at least give him a shot at playing quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see this off season and this spring what shakes out. I mean, I think that you can probably guarantee that somebody's going to transfer, whether it's Shrout or possibly even Maurer. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. What do you think about Laneith Whitehead?
I think it was a big pickup for the Vols. I think that what I had read about him, I think Pruitt and him was kind of on him to play linebacker, and then he made it pretty much known that late in the recruiting that he wanted to play running back, and outside of the occasional carries that Crouch got, we just don't have a big bruising back. So I definitely think that that Whitehead could be somebody. Now I don't know about his speed or anything like that. I don't think that he's a speedster or anything like that, but I think he's like 6'2", 230 pounds. So kid's got some meat on him. So definitely feel like that he's got the potential there.
Well, one thing I read was Pruitt was saying that they typically don't like to move guys out of or ask players to change their position, and that was from his recap of signing day. So
yeah. I was looking over the list right here. We ended up losing the McDaniel kid to Florida there last week when he flipped, but we ended up signing the Slaughter kid. We got him to flip. I don't think that he's a speedster or anything like that, but he has some good skill sets on him. And of course, Keyshawn Lawrence. I wonder if maybe if he played maybe in Florida or Georgia or something like that, if he would be higher ranked. Yeah. I think that Keyshawn is an absolute baller.
I'm pretty sure he's the kid that I saw a picture of.
Mm-hmm.
Man, chiseled and built.
Yeah.
Out of Nashville, playing for Innsworth.
Yeah.
So
that was a big time getting him, and of course getting Omari Thomas to sign early. I think that we ended up with 21. I saw some things saying 23, but I keep counting 21 on there. So if that's the case, that leaves us 4 spots to maybe sign some kids in February. So
looking at the official release from the university is 21.
Yeah, with that. So definitely got four spots there to go after some top recruits. I saw someone had posted that there were several top 100 kids that as of this evening that still hadn't actually signed with anybody. So there's some talent out there. And Jacob James is asking about 2 of those, asking if we think Hardy or Washington. I mean, all of the smoke that you see about Washington keeps everybody keeps saying that it's Georgia, but here's the thing with Washington. I mean, he's said for a long time that he was going to sign today, and then he was going to announce it to everybody at the Under Armour All American game, which is, I think, the same day. Is that the same day that Tennessee plays, or maybe it's not? But anyway, he plans to keep it a secret for like two weeks. So my hope is that he's giving off these vibes when everybody thinking that he inked with Georgia today, and then he shocks everybody and picks the Vols. But based on what everybody's saying, they expect him to sign with Georgia. I think Jay Hardy could get really interesting. I think that was huge to keep him from actually signing early today with Auburn, and you can bet that Pruitt and Harrison Bailey and Tyler Barron and Cooper Mays, that those kids are going to be all over him.
Yep. The Under Armour game is January 2nd. So.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah. So it's the same day that the Vols play Indiana. So Grayson Fugate, appreciate you listening, Grayson. He says 21 signed, 2 still not signed but committed. I wonder if those 2 that's not signed but committed are going to be like gray shirts or something like that, or
could potentially be, yeah. And that's one thing I was going to get into. This whole dynamic of the early signing period, it's a whole new wrinkle. I mean, we're in what, year 2 of this? Or is it year 3?
It was actually Pruitt's first year, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
So this is his third actual recruiting class, which is hard to believe.
But it doesn't take into consideration the whole crazy, end of the season between there and the bowl games and the coaching carousel. I mean, this is right when stuff starts heating up, and you're going to have guys, coaches getting new jobs, assistants leaving, guys who are the main recruiting contact for a kid up and going somewhere else. So that's I don't know. It's a big part in this. There were times where I read that some stuff about Butch's staff and the kids' recruiting contact wasn't even their position coach. Their position coach had never met that kid, and just all sorts of crazy stories that you don't like to hear about your university. I read something the other day about somebody put it on Twitter. It had Trevor Lawrence and somebody else. T. Higgins and the kid that transferred, Justin Fields, from Georgia up to Ohio State. They were all at Tennessee on the same recruiting weekend. Somebody tweeted out a picture of all 3 of them there in a Tennessee jersey in the locker room. But the little story that went along with it was Fields' father had actually contacted Tennessee to get him a visit, and pretty much had to beg the staff. And the recruiting contact that they had was like, are we even recruiting your kid?
Yeah.
I mean, just that's horrible. And it's completely night and day what I get from the current staff. The vibe of this staff and Pruitt itself, that's recruiting's the lifeblood. And Pruitt knows it. Pruitt understands it. But it's not just recruiting. It's the relationships that they're trying to build with these kids, with their families. Just like we talked about the other day, Pruitt allowing all the guys that graduated to take the day off and spend it with their families instead of being involved in bowl practice.
Yeah. And we've had a couple of fellas comment here about recruiting in state,
Yeah.
and certainly, that's something that that Tennessee has really struggled with over the last few years with this football program is keeping, like you just said, T. Higgins, Amari Rogers, Cade Mays. I mean, there's a lot of these kids that are excelling for these other programs and stuff like that. But I think that it was huge for Pruitt to kind of turn the corner this year. I think with this class and assign so many of those kids from Tennessee. I can't find. I was trying to look here to see what Rivals had as the top 10 in the state of Tennessee. I can't seem to locate it quickly, but just right off the top of my head, I would probably say the only one that we haven't signed is probably Hardy. I mean, there might be another one there. I know that Oxidine ended up signing with, or of course, I think Oxidine was actually from Kentucky, wasn't he? Rabaka or whatever his name is, Trayvon Rabaka or whatever, he ended up signing with Kentucky. I'm not sure what that he was ranked in the state of Tennessee.
Well, and the one thing I like is the focus again on the western part of the state, and Hillbilly Sportsman hit it right there, including Memphis, and that's especially important with what has just happened in Oxford with Kiffin coming on and coming back to the SEC. Memphis is typically, one of the areas where there is a lot of talent, and to let that get out of state, especially in conference, is a travesty for the state university to allow top talent like that to leave.
Yeah, and Tennessee has a struggle there as far as distance goes.
Right.
With the state laid out the way it is. I mean, a lot of these kids in the Memphis area, they can get to several other schools a whole lot faster than they can.
Yeah, but this day and age
to Knoxville.
This day and age, though, I mean, you're recruiting is a national thing. I mean,
oh yeah, you better.
You're looking at kids out of California. You're looking at JUCO guys out of the big JUCO college in Arizona, the one in Kansas, the ones in Mississippi. So I mean, it's if you're only looking at your state, if you're only looking at your region, you're not going to see success on the field.
No, and one thing that I've been encouraged about with Pruitt and his staff is being able to identify some of these guys quickly and get these kids because I think that obviously we've been swinging for some 5 stars and I mean we got some last year. May not get any of them this year per se, but unless maybe Bailey ends up getting a bump. But I think that his ability and his staff's ability to identify some of these kids that maybe their recruiting ranking doesn't really justify how good that they are, and I think that is the big difference between what Butch Jones ended up doing, because I'm firmly have no doubt that at some point in time that Butch Jones went down through the Rivals ranking and said, this guy's a 4-star, let's go after him. And whether or not that he fit the program, what they were trying to do, anything like that.
Absolutely.
It was all about the perception that
those numbers
he was trying to give
and
off.
that final ranking.
Yeah.
He would take a guy that didn't fit the system, but then would not adapt the system to his skill set. And that's a big thing right there that you just put up on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Hillbilly Sportsman, you hit it dead on right there, buddy. You hit it dead on. And to me, that's what Pruitt is going to have to do because I looked at the rivals ranking, and currently, right now, we set ninth in the nation, seventh in the SEC.
Yeah.
Now, just imagine that ninth in the nation based on rivals, but seventh in the SEC. So Pruitt and his coaching staff is going to have to continue to develop these kids that may not be as highly ranked, they may not be as good at this point in time, but they are going to have to develop and coach these kids up to where they can be on that same level as what is happening at Georgia and Alabama and I guess Florida per se. And at some point in time, he's going to have to take these kids and he's going to have to beat these teams. And then when he starts doing that, starts beating one of them or two of them, and we finish 9-3, perhaps maybe next year or something like that, and then you can look at 2021 and say, okay, this team can recruit and be on the same level as Georgia and LSU, Clemson, Bama, Florida, all of those teams that are recruiting in the top 5.
Right.
And I mean, he's this close. I mean, because if you really look at those recruiting rankings, I mean, there's not a huge difference between, really 5th through 10th or third through. Yeah. Now Clemson, I mean, that recruiting class that they're putting together this year is just off the charts. But, what I got to say about that is if you want to be a front runner and you want to go play in the ACC and you want to play in front of 50,000 fans and you don't want to play any competition, well, then you go to Clemson. You go to Clemson and you run roughshod over the ACC and you beat that Midley Conference, but you go right ahead. But if you're a man and you want to play big boy football, then you sign with the Vols and then you take down the giants of Alabama and Georgia and Florida. I don't care. I wouldn't care about beating up on Duke and Wake Forest and who else is in the ACC. I mean, whatever. I mean, but they can do whatever they want to. I mean, these kids are 16, 17, 18-year-old. And of course, Clemson is the flavor of the day. And that's what that they end up doing. But with that, but anyway, I mean, I guess that maybe that it's good that Clemson is recruiting at that level because maybe they're not saving some of those kids for Bama and Georgia teams that we have to play on a regular basis. So with that, yeah, another JP rant, but anyway, Dauber, you got anything else, man?
Nah, man, we had so much to get through tonight, and I think we did. Just disappointing in the play of the basketball team. Excited about the recruiting we had today. Really excited for what we got coming up with our meet and greet and watch party at the Tap House in Kingsport. A lot going on. Of course, the holidays right in the middle of all this. So, man.
Yeah, but everybody still be on the lookout. We'll be dropping some stuff. I'm sure Boogie's got some stuff that's probably going in the works that he's going to be working on. And of course, like Dauber said, if anybody is around Kingsport on January 2nd, they can come out to the Model City Tap House and hang out with Dauber and Boogie and cheer on the Vols. So yeah, and I'm gonna give a shout out. Wayne's been talking about the Bucks, so have to give a big shout out to the ETSU Bucks. Went down to Baton Rouge tonight and beat the snot out of LSU. At one point, they was up 22 points.
Yeah,
I think that they made a comeback and made it closer, but just a huge win for Forbes and the Bucks. They got a really good basketball team.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to play them right now if I was the Vols. I can say that for sure.
Yeah. Vandy lost tonight too. I think to somebody.
Yeah.
So yeah, rough night for the SEC in basketball.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, all right, guys, I think that's going to do it for tonight. We appreciate everybody tuning in, and just be on the lookout. Make sure that you subscribe to the S&B Network if you're not already, so you can get notified anytime that there's new content drop. But we'll be back. We'll be back for sure at least one night next week. That is Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Next
Next
Wednesday
Wednesday.
night.
A
Yeah,
week.
yeah,
Got a
yeah,
week. Have you got
yeah.
all your shopping done?
Do I have all my shopping done? Yeah, pretty much.
Did you get me something nice?
I did. I
All
did.
right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll bring it to the Christmas party on Friday.
All right.
All right, fellas. We appreciate you all. If Be sure to continue to watch for content dropping. But until next time, for Dauber, I'm Vols JP. Go Big Orange.